So this is the first lecture of Structural Analysis 3. This is the syllabus of first module. We have already discussed the entire syllabus of the course in the previous class, and this is the syllabus of the first module. In the first module, we have approximate methods of analysis of multi-story building frames, and we have three methods, one method for vertical loads and two methods for lateral loads. So multi-story building frame means it will be having numerous bays and numerous stories. So there will be number of stories will be there and number of bays are also will be there. Okay, like this. And if it is subjected to vertical loading generally is the gravity loading. So when it is subjected to such vertical loading, you can have substitute frame method to solve the structure. Okay, and we have to discuss the loading conditions for different types of cases, and we'll discuss everything in detail. And then the wind load analysis of multi-story building frame or the building frame subjected to lateral loads. Wind load is a lateral load. For the lateral load, we have two methods, portal method and cantilever method. Okay, so this is the entire structure of the first module. Approximate analysis of multi-story building. We have analysis for vertical load, analysis of lateral load. For the vertical load, we have substitute frame method, and for the lateral load, we have portal method and cantilever method. Okay, so this is a multi-story building frame. So you have studied many conventional methods in the previous semesters, for solving the indeterminate structures like Canni's method, slope deflection method, moment distribution method, etc. But you cannot directly apply such methods to direct methods or conventional methods to multi-story building frames because it induces more complications. There will be tedious calculations, so it will be time-consuming task. Okay, so we have to go for some approximate methods for quick analysis, but it will provide only approximate results. Actually, in approximate method of analysis, we will take some assumptions to make the indeterminate structure to determinate one, and we can solve by ourselves. Okay, so we'll be making the indeterminate multi-story building frames to some determinate structures, and we'll be analyzing that. So determinate structures can be easily analyzed. Like that, we'll be analyzing the structure. Okay. These conventional methods are tedious for the calculations, and it will be time consuming. But nowadays we never go for this approximate analysis because we use the softwares for finding the dimensions of everything. You can use softwares to find the bending moments, shear forces, whatever it is. Okay, but in order for the preliminary dimensions of the structure and all, we can get an approximate size and all. You can take a frame from the structure and you can analyze using approximate method to get the approximate results, so as you can fix the sizes of the beams and columns. Okay, then next is substitute frame method. So in substitute frame method, we have to formulate a substitute frame. So substitute frame method is used for vertical loading conditions, and it assumes the moments in the beams of any floor are influenced by the loading on that floor alone. So this is one of the important assumptions, that in substitute frame method, moments in the beam of any floor are influenced by loading on that floor alone. Okay, so whenever you consider any beam on a particular floor level, we will not consider the influence from the other floors. So we'll consider the beams in that floor alone. Okay, the process involves the division of multi-story building frame into smaller frames called substitute frames or equivalent frames. Okay, and the method that we use is the moment distribution method. I'll show you how these substitute frames are formulated. This is the multi-story building frame that we are having. This is having 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stories and 3 bays. Okay, and in order to formulate the substitute frame, you can take the beams at the floor level and columns to the top and bottom. So if you take the roof slab like this, it will have the columns, 4 columns like this, and the top roof slab, and the farther end of the columns will be fixed. Okay, and if you consider any other intermediate floor, say third floor or fourth floor, whatever it is, you can consider the beams on that floor alone plus the columns on either side, with the farther ends of the columns are fixed. Okay, like this we'll be formulating the substitute frame method. And whenever you got the substitute frame, you can analyze it, you can put the load onto that we'll discuss. And after that, you can analyze it by moment distribution method, but with only 2 cycle of iteration. 2 cycle of distribution, only 2 cycles are required. The thing is, you are solving this by moment distribution method. Okay. Then the substitute frames are formed by the beams at the floor level under consideration together with the columns above and below with their farther ends fixed. So this is what I have explained here. Substitute, whenever you get a multi-story building, multi-story frame of a building, you can make substitute frames by taking the beams at any floor level under consideration together with columns above and below with their far ends fixed. Okay, and the distributed bending moment are not carried over to the far ends of the column, and moments in the column are computed at each floor level independently and retained at that floor alone. So no bending moments are transferred from one floor to the another. That's one of the main assumptions. Moments in the beams of any floor are influenced by loading and that floor alone. That's one point. Whenever you consider moments in beams, so if you consider these beams 9, 10, 11, 12, this beam, this will be influenced by the loading on that floor alone. And whenever you calculate bending moment in the columns, it will not be carried over to the farther ends. So you may be remembering moment distribution method. In the moment distribution method, this moment distribution method, we have to carry over half the moment to the farther end, but here we will not carry the moments to the farther end of the column. Okay, and regarding the loading of substitute frame, both dead load and live load acts as a vertical load. So the substitute frame method is for vertical loading or the gravity loading analysis, and both dead load and live load are the vertical loads, and dead load acts throughout the frame always. So whenever you consider any frame, dead load will be acting throughout the frame. Okay, and live load is either throughout or part of the frame, and we will be placing the live load for the worst condition. The live load is positioned for the worst condition. For the same frame, live load position for maximum span moments, maximum support moments, and column moments may be different. Okay, we have to by heart, or we have to study what are the live load positions for different in order to get maximum span moment, maximum positive bending moment at the mid span, or maximum negative bending moment at the mid span, or for the maximum support moment. Like that, we have to study what are the live load conditions. Okay, so that we will discuss. Live load positions for maximum positive bending moment at the middle of the span. So I think this much is clear to you, right? So we have discussed the syllabus of module 1. Then this is a multi-story building frame, and there are so many methods, conventional methods to solve indeterminate structures. But when it comes to multi-story building frames, the static indeterminacy is very high. We cannot easily solve by manual calculation. So we require some approximate methods for the analysis. And as per your syllabus, for the gravity load or vertical load, we can have substitute frame method, and for the lateral load analysis, portal method and cantilever method. And when you come to substitute frame method, the thing is that you have to divide the multi-story building frame that you are having into substitute frames like this. If it is a roof slab, you can have the substitute frame like this, and if it is for an intermediate floor, you can have the substitute frame like this. You have to formulate the substitute frame by isolating the beams at the floor level considered and the columns above and below with their far ends fixed. Okay, and the thing is that the moments in the beam at the floor, at a particular floor, is influenced by the loading at that floor alone. We can consider the loading in that floor alone. Okay, it can be dead load or live load. Okay, and You can analyze the substitute frame using the moment distribution method or by using 2 cycle of distribution. And when you compute the bending moments in the columns, it will not be carried to the next floor level. It will be retained at that floor itself. Okay, and when you place the load, dead load will be acting throughout the frame always, and live load will be positioned for the worst condition for a different cases. Like live load positions for maximum span moments, support moments, column moments, etc. may be different. Okay. Now we will discuss the different live load positions for maximum positive and negative bending moment in the span, maximum support moment, and maximum moment in the columns. So the live load position for maximum positive bending moment at the middle of a span. So if you consider a midpoint of span BC, let XX be that section. In order to get maximum bending moment at this section, how will you place the live load? The dead load will be placed throughout the section, and live load can be placed based on the ILD for bending moments. So this is the ILD for bending moment at this section XX. This is the ILD for bending moment. So when you look into the ILD, the positive bending moment or the sagging bending moment is occurring when it is live load is positioned at BC and DE. You may be clear with the concept of ILD. So ILD is, this is the influence line diagram for bending moment. So whenever you place the load at this point, this span BC and this span DE, you will have maximum positive bending moment at this section XX. So this is the ILD for bending moment at the section XX. Okay, so you can place the live load at the particular span you have considered. So if you want to find the maximum bending moment at a section XX in the span BC, you have to place the live load at that section as well as on alternate sections. So alternate section means DE. If there were one more support here, you have to place it here also. So if this is the case, if there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spans, and if you want to find the bending moment at this level, maximum bending moment at this level, you can place the live load here, here and here, alternate spans, and dead load throughout the span. Okay. So in the question you will be given with the dead load value, say 5 kilonewton per meter, or live load value, say 3 kilonewton per meter. Like that it will be given, and you can calculate. Just a minute. So live load positions for various conditions we have been discussing. So in order to get the maximum positive bending moment at the middle of a span, you can place the live load at this span as well as on alternate spans. Then the second condition is for maximum negative bending moment at the middle of a span. When you look into this figure, in order to get maximum hogging moment, you can place the load at AB and CD. Okay, so you can place the load at the nearest span, not on the particular span. If you want to find the maximum negative bending moment or hogging bending moment at this section, you can place the live load on alternate spans or the nearest spans, and alternate of these two. Like that you can place the load. So more than 4 spans may not be asked for your university exams because it will be tedious for the calculations. So whenever you get a problem like this, you can place the live load on either side of the particular span which is asked. And in order for maximum negative bending moment at support B, so if you want to find the maximum negative bending moment at support B, this is the ILD for support bending moment MB. So the bending moment at B, in order to get maximum bending moment at B, you can place the live load on either side of B and on alternate spans like this. Okay. So whenever C is asked, you are asked to find the bending moment at C, how will you find? So you can place on either side of C, and if there is alternate spans available, you can place over there also. If it is not available, you can place the load on either side, the live load. Okay, now you will get the total if you consider 4 spans like this. One more. So if you are asked any particular case, you will get the total dead load and total live load. Whatever be the case, you can choose the case according to the question. Now you got the net load here 8 kilonewton per meter, so here only 3 kilonewton, here again 8 kilonewton, here 3, like that you will get. So I have just mentioned an example how to get the frame. Then if you get such a problem, you can do it by moment distribution method. So for that you require you have to refer back your STA2 and STA2 notes and understand how moment distribution method is done, and you can do only 2 cycle of iterations are required, and you can solve the problem. Okay, is it clear? And one more condition is there. For maximum bending moment of columns, there are 2 cases. So you have to do these 2 and choose the highest one. 2 alternatives are there. When you are asked to find the maximum bending moment in the columns, you can place the load on alternate spans. If you are placing here on this span and this span, in the next case you have to place on A, B, C, D and E, F. In this case, you can place the load on B, C and D. Like that, you have to try all the alternate options and find the bending moment for the least. So since there are 2 choices to do, usually for university examinations, any of these 3 can be expected. 1, 2 or 3. And problems of this part, I'll share some KTU notes for you. Okay, KTU students, site notes, because the remaining thing is only moment distribution, and you have already studied moment distribution. And if you have any doubt in that, you can approach me when you come back and I'll explain. And there is no point in discussing that again and again in class. We have studied moment distribution in the previous semesters. You can refer those notes. I've shared this lecture to your Google Classroom as well as some other videos from the portal method. I'll share the PDF of that notes also to this lecture. Okay, now comes the approximate methods for the lateral loads. There are actually 2 methods, the portal method and cantilever method, and I have added the video lectures of portal methods. There are 4 videos and totally around 40 minutes only. So you can watch all these videos when you come back to the college. Okay, the first video is the different assumptions, and in which this video is actually prepared by Altaf sir. We have prepared this one last year. The first 2 videos by Altaf sir and the next 2 by me, and you can refer those videos. In the first video, we have clearly explained how an indeterminate structure is converted into a determinate one by making some assumptions. Okay, whether it is portal method or cantilever method or substitute frame method, whatever it is, we will be making some approximations and making the structures so that we can solve it easier, or reducing the degree of indeterminacy and we can solve it easier. Okay, by making some assumptions. That is the approximate method of analysis. You can watch all those videos and understand what portal method is, and we have done one problem in that 4 videos, one typical problem. You should study that portion and come back to college. And if you have any doubt, you can ask me, you can message me in WhatsApp, or I'll reply, and we'll do one more problem when you come back to college. Okay.